Great tune. Thank you, Jeff and Julie. Let's give them another love. So our global theme for the Centers for Spiritual Living has been Living Everyday Wonder. We have a beautiful poster in the back about that. And that's been the theme for the year. And my talk today is making every day count. How can we do that? Make every day count. And I had a little subtitle, with the Trinity Waltz. I created that phrase, the Trinity Waltz, a few years ago when I started combining all of the backgrounds that I had into my ministerial position. And the Trinity Waltz to me is really about taking care of our body, mind, and spirit. Because our whole being needs to be nourished. Do you agree?
Yes.
Right. So food, exercise, water, and rest for the body, wisdom and knowledge for the mind, and consciousness and heart for the spirit. One of my favorite quotes by our founder, Ernest Holmes, that I say every day is, "I cleanse the window of my mind, that it may become a mirror reflecting inspiration from the Most High." I love that quote. Because when I say that, I really feel my whole being guided and directed into what's right for me that particular day in my body, mind, and spirit. So are you tending to your Trinity every day? You don't have to raise your hand or anything. What are you feeding yourself today? Not just food, but your thinking as well, right? What are you feeding your thoughts? So this month of March, Reverend Maggie has shared a lot about including fun and humor and play in our life and the importance of community, the importance of coming together and celebrating this thing called life and getting new tools and inspirations. So now we're going to balance the idea of play and humor with the idea of rest and spiritual practice. Rest and spiritual practice, because both of them, I believe, are vital to our well-being. Are you ready for some new ideas?
Yes.
So Raymond Charles Barker, a great religious scientist, said, "New ideas are as essential for the mind as food, water, and rest are for the physical body." Right? Which is what I just said. Only new ideas, he said, arising in consciousness from the inner fount of the infinite mind will make certain your pathway in progressive revelation. I made an affirmation today that I invite you to repeat after me. I'll say it once. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. Repeat after me. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. Yeah. What a great statement for us. So Maya Angelou said, each of us has that right, that possibility to invent ourselves daily. If a person does not invent themselves, they will be invented. Oh. So, she says, to be bodacious enough to invent ourselves is wise. Yeah, it's wise. So when we make wise choices, we make every day count, I believe. So I'd like you to think about, what if we valued intentional quiet time, rest, sacred space, and silence as much as we do being busy and getting things done? How would that change our lives? Despite our best intentions to live balanced lives, the modern world, as we know, demands that we're almost always connected and productive. Have you noticed? And this can drain us emotionally, physically, and spiritually. We live in a culture that perpetuates the belief that when we have a lot going on and a lot of excitement, we're really alive. Well, in truth, we're really alive when we can be at peace within our own self, within our own skin. So it might seem counterintuitive to take time out when your to-do list is a mile long. Anybody ever have a mile-long to-do list? But the fact is, if you take a moment throughout the day, a rest, a breath break, you will feel more focused, more alive, and more energetic. When we take a time out, a rest, it's like letting the earth lie fallow, rather than constantly planting and harvesting. Think about that. Be still. Be still. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. Let's say that again. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. Taking a time out. Have you noticed that this game of life is calling us to do that? You know, we've been in a pandemic for what, two years? I remember that day in March, Reverend Maggie and I showed up the first day we couldn't open the doors. We had this little Facebook thing on. It was her and I. Nobody could come in, and we're trying to figure it out. I'll never forget that day. And I've heard it said that Mother Nature, because of the pandemic, Mother Nature told us to go to your room, be still, and be quiet. That's what the pandemic was about. So we've had a couple years to be quiet, go to our room, and figure it out. So in football, the quarterback gives signals for a timeout during the game. And you know, even little ones need timeout, right, when they're misbehaving. So the primary definition of a timeout, though, is derived from the world of sports. So it means that the players can rest, confer, and adjust their strategy. Well, hello, we need to rest, confer, and adjust our strategy, do you think? And a timeout doesn't last forever. It's understood that it's for a limited period, 2 minutes in football. Then the whistle blows and the game resumes. Our game of life will resume as well, won't it? And we will be prepared. There's a reason why we go on vacations and have sabbaticals, right? It's to fill up, to restore, to be inspired again. I mean, even batteries need to be recharged, right? So the great Vietnamese Buddhist monk who recently passed, Thich Nhat Hanh, said, "It is very important that we relearn the art of resting and relaxing. Not only does it prevent the onset of many illnesses that develop through chronic tension and worrying, it allows us to clear our minds, focus, and find creative solutions to problems." And if you watch animals, you'll see that they spend a lot of time resting, not sleeping. The animal part of us needs that too. In fact, every living organism needs rest. So Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, "Joyfully, peacefully, trustingly, confidently, I give my body, every tissue, atom, and function over to the Spirit of life, which in its perfection does now renew and rebuild me even out of itself." So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself these questions. Do I honor my intention to rest, or do I allow myself to be pulled into busyness? Just notice, without any feeling of guilt or judgment, just notice. What tends to keep me from scheduling quiet time and rest for myself? And finally, what can I put into place to support my intention to be restful and rested? Good. So as Brene Brown says, it takes courage to say yes to rest and play in a culture where exhaustion is seen as a status symbol. Not you, not here, not now. Right? I think most of us are over that. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. And that includes finding rest time. So, in one of my former lives, I had a full-time job as a Pilates trainer and yoga teacher and dancer. And many years ago, I created this motto for my work that I did at the time, and it was inner evolution, outer transformation. And I created this, I would say, maybe 20 years ago, 18 years ago or so, and it meant something very different to me at the time. Inner evolution to me was discipline. It was doing the work so that your body would be great and strong, and it was an outer transformation. It was mostly just the physical body. And over the years, I started kind of changing my focus in what I was doing, and I started becoming more of a student of metaphysics, science of mind. I became a licensed spiritual practitioner. I love studying, I love learning, and then I became a minister through the Emerson Institute, and now I'm back in ministerial classes, even doing more study. So I've changed, plus I'm a life coach. So I've changed my motto. I haven't changed my motto, but I've changed my intention. So now my poster looks like this: body, mind, soul, spirit. Inner evolution, outer transformation. It's the same motto, but I'm in a different place. I'm coming at it from a very different place. Inner evolution is all about our practices, our beliefs, our faith. And it transforms our life in every way imaginable. Our finances, our relationships, our physical health, all of it. So I'm just so excited. I figured this out this week. I was like, wow, I still use the same motto, but it means something different. Oh, bless my heart. So, to me, nothing is more wonderful than resting in the one presence through powerful spiritual practice. So Ernest Holmes, which is the inner evolution, Ernest Holmes says spiritual experience comes in the stillness of the soul, when the outer voice is quiet. It is a quickening of the inner being to an eternal reality. And this quickening is a door to the mystical experience, the cosmic consciousness we talk about, and it shows us the truth that all are one, all is divine, and all is love. But it takes practice, practice, practice to understand this. And in Science of Mind, we have practices that teach us how to, and provide a means to, applying the principles that we teach here. So everyone received a bookmark today when you came in. And if you did not get one, please go ahead and grab one and take it on out. I'd like you to look at it. Did everyone get one? Okay, they're back on the back. Susan, would you hand out some bookmarks, please? So on one side are the principles, and this is from our home office in Denver. The Centers for Spiritual Living created this year, after many years of discussion. So on one side are the principles that we teach here, and on the other side are the practices that we offer through our philosophy here. And those of you online, just let us know if you want one, and I'll send you one. So look at the back side of practices. So we have specific activities and methods that we use in the Science of Mind philosophy to evolve our consciousness. There's that inner evolution. So think about it. A lawyer practices law. A doctor practices medicine. So what are we practicing, right? So And the promise of spiritual practice is not that you're going to be saved from something and that life is just going to be a bed of roses. No, things still show up, but the practices help us come back into alignment and to view something that may seem challenging more as an opportunity or a way to grow. And this is not a get out of jail card either. I heard that from Deborah Johnson. It's about resilience, resurrection, rejuvenation, renewal. So let's look at the practices. I'm just going to go down quickly to some of them. Spiritual mind treatment is the first one, obviously. Spiritual mind treatment is our 5-step affirmative prayer that's very unique to the science of mind philosophy. Ernest Holmes created it after studying all the world's religions. And he came down with this formula that's fantastic. The formula of spiritual mind treatment is a powerful, affirmative, positive way to pray or to affirm your good. You can do spiritual mind treatment for yourself, and you can also have a practitioner do a spiritual mind treatment for you. At the end of church service every Sunday, you are invited to come and get a spiritual mind treatment from one of our practitioners. It's our gift to you. Practicing the presence. How do we do that here? We do it through meditation and mindfulness. Meditation is an amazing tool, as we know. I led a meditation today. Mary Ellen led a meditation before service. Meditation is a very important way to be still and get quiet so that you can open to that inner voice. Every weekday morning or whenever you tune in on Facebook Live here at Foothill Center, one of the practitioners guides you into a 10, 15, 20-minute time of meditation and prayer. So every day you can be rejuvenated and fill up your fountain. Direct revelation, visioning is another process we do here. I've taught many visioning workshops here. The board of directors goes through visioning every year to tap into the highest and best and greatest vision for the community and for each of us. Very powerful practice. Number 4, self-awareness, silence, spiritual coaching, guided imagery, journaling, therapy. These are just different ways. Silence, think about that. What if you took one day during the week where you were just silent for half of the day? Or an hour. And you were just quiet. Or if you take a walk in nature without your earbuds or your phone and you simply commune with the beautiful aspects of the trees and the plants and the animals. It taps us into that powerful place. Having a coaching session, counseling session with a practitioner or a coach. So many different ways. Gratitude, number 5. Gratitude, of course, is a big one. Being grateful all the time for that which is occurring. Saying grace before every meal. Blessing your food. Do you bless your food? That's a simple way to reconnect to that bounty and that love of what it is you're putting in your body. Nourishing. Are you nourishing your body? And keeping a gratitude journal. I know for all of my clients, that's the number 1 homework I always give, is at night, you write down simple 5 gratitudes. Because it keeps opening your heart to a greater good, to invite more into your life. I have to say, the gratitude thing, the other day I watched Reverend Barbara Leger, who has spoken here many times. She lived in Ukraine for 20 years and started a Science of Mind group there, and there's over 20 practitioners now in Ukraine, Ukrainians, and mostly women, I think. But the other day she had a live chat on Zoom with one of the practitioners that's still living in Kyiv. And that practitioner had such a glow of gratitude on her face the whole time Barbara and she were talking. And she was sharing how life is right now there. But she has a consciousness that's holding her in a different place than all the people around her that are in fear. And she talked about that, and it was just such an amazing thing. She was in such gratitude for the consciousness that she learned through the Science of Mind that's keeping her in this place with her family and feeling that she is loved and guided and protected. It was a powerful thing. I'll try to share that video on our Facebook page. Compassion, practicing forgiveness. Ah, yes. And forgiveness is not a one-time thing, as we know and teach here. Forgiveness is a daily practice. I love what Edwene Gaines in her book shared of what she does, and I try to do this often at night, is you just reflect at night before you go to bed, and you ask yourself, who have I put out of my heart today? Or who have I closed my heart to? And what it does is it brings up maybe someone that I didn't say thank you to, or someone that cut me off in traffic and I yelled at them, or whatever it is. Those simple things of where we cut off our heart. Not that we're condoning any action that they did, but we're releasing us. And then we just open ourselves to that light and love of, I forgive myself for forgiving you, for I forgive myself. Sacred service. Yeah, sacred service is very powerful. Here we love having volunteers. In fact, now that we're going to be more open, we're going to ask some of you that are members to start volunteering to be an usher, greet people, hand out a program, bring a snack, serve on the board of directors. What a concept, right? Be a good steward of this community. If you want to see this community grow, volunteer, offer your sacred service, or volunteer in the larger community, at the food bank or wherever it is. Sacred service is a powerful, powerful way to reconnect to the heart of compassion. And then, of course, down at the bottom, intentional manifestation, spiritual mind treatment, affirmations, visualization, giving and receiving. That's another thing. Not only financially, yes, we love that, but through your time and talent to give and receive. It's practicing the law of circulation. And then sacred study. We are really big here on study. Book studies, workshops, accredited classes, all kinds of things we offer here, both in person and online. Because the more that we keep feeding our mind with these ideas, again, new ideas, the more we come into an understanding of the power that we have within us. So reading and discussing of sacred writing is so important. I know all of you here that have taken classes can vouch for that, right? How it's changed your consciousness. It has to. Yeah. So all of these practices we do here in some form. It's usually in a class, we always have meditation. And it's just something good to take home and remind ourselves. And the principles on the front are taken from our Declaration of Principles in the Science of Mind. So I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. Let's say that one more time together. I make the decision to nourish my whole being and make every day count. The Trinity Waltz, taking care of body, mind, and spirit, and remembering that our whole being needs to be nourished every day. Ernest Holmes said, our mind and spirit is our echo of the eternal thing itself. And the sooner we discover this fact, the sooner we shall be made free and happy. And even just taking a conscious breath break throughout the day connects you to that spirit. Science of Mind magazine this month, page 102, the benefits of value-based work activities. Both Mark Waldman and Andrew Newberg, who are neuroscientists, talk about that there's no question that a few minutes of contemplative meditation, when practiced a few times during the day, will improve both your mental and physical health. Take a 1 minute micro break to do mindful breathing, which is basically watching your breath come in and watching it go out. brings yourself into the present moment. So make a commitment now to this week. Take a 60-second, 1-minute breathing meditation and see what happens. Are you willing?
Yes.
Take a breath. And let's take that into prayer. How good it is to be open and receptive to this thing called life. The one power, expansive, universal, infinite, loving, whole, complete, balanced, peaceful, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. And as I am a creation of this Creator, I know that each of you are creations of this one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence. And that each of us has planted a seed today of opportunity to nourish ourselves in whatever way is appropriate for us, through the body, through the mind, through the spirit of who we are, so that we can open and expand our hearts, our consciousness to the greater good. We let go of the lesser and claim the greater, and it's happening now. It's happening now, simply because we've said yes. And so I bless this day, I bless our hearts, I bless this time, knowing that there is good and greater good happening. That we indeed are standing on holy, sacred ground. And that we are willing, we make a decision to nourish every part of our being, so that every day does count. We make a difference. We create the peace in the world. So I am grateful. My heart is singing with joy to this truth. As I release my word into the law, that aspect of God that always says yes, and knowing it is done, we just let go, we let God, we let good. And join me in affirming. And so it is. Amen.